What up, y'all? It's your boy Denim Jeans back at it again with another video. And today we're going to be talking about the games from the past 2 days, the 17th and the 18th, the game twos for most of the series. Because we missed yesterday, so we got to catch up, talk about yesterday and the day before. So we're just going to hop right into it, talk about the Pacers versus the Celtics. The Celtics defend home court, come out of that series up 2-0 over the Pacers. And I'm not surprised. The Celtics are a very, very good team, a very, very deep team, and they have one of the best point guards in the league in Kyrie Irving. And the Pacers, like I've mentioned before in previous videos, they lost Oladipo. They lost their best player, their best defender, the person who probably would be guarding Kyrie Irving in this series. And the Celtics are a good team at home. They've been good throughout the entire regular season. And I think if the Pacers are going to win a game or two in the series, it's going to have to be on their home court because they're not going to go into Boston and beat them. So it'd be interesting to see what the Pacers are able to do in Game 3, which we'll be talking about tomorrow, and just see what they can do. Because I think that they're too good of a team, the Pacers are, to get swept by the Celtics. But I wouldn't necessarily be that surprised if the Celtics did, because I mean they are deep. They do have one of the best point guards in the league, Kyrie Irving. They do have Al Horford, who has all that experience. Jason Tatum is one of the best first or second year players in the league, and so it wouldn't surprise me necessarily if the Celtics swept the Pacers, just because, one, they are not at full strength, missing Oladipo. But I don't expect it. I expect the Pacers to at least win one of these two home games that they have coming up in the series. The Bucks versus the Pistons, it's a slaughter. It's a manslaughter, just like is expected to be, especially since the Pistons don't have Blake Griffin playing in the series. There's nothing they can really do. He's the best player on their team, and he's out. They have Andre Drummond, who's trying his best, getting as many rebounds as he can, putting up as many buckets as he can off of these offensive rebounds. But there's only so much he can do, and doesn't really have any help since Blake Griffin's out. Reggie Jackson's not going to do it for you. They just don't have enough firepower to keep up with everything that the Bucks have. Especially, they don't have anything to. Who's going to stop Giannis? Nobody. So Bucks go up 2-0. They're probably going to end up sweeping this series, especially since Blake Griffin is out. Now, the Rockets versus the Jazz, I expected it to be a little bit more of a competitive series than it is looking at the moment. The Rockets go out and beat the Jazz by 20, 118-98. And that surprised me, man, because I did expect the Rockets to win the series, but I expected it to be a competitive series in 5 or 6 games. But it's not, at the moment anyway. James Harden, he's still doing his thing, going off for, 32 last night. 32, 13, and 10, went off for 30.10 assist, triple-double. And they just don't have an answer for him. There's nothing that they can do to stop him, even though they are one of the best defending teams in the league and have been the past couple of years. There's nothing they can do against James Harden, who's probably going to win an MVP, and if he doesn't, then he'll be the runner-up for sure. So it'd be interesting to see what the Jazz can do at home, because they were a pretty good home team this year, but they haven't been able to find an answer for James Harden yet. If you can't find an answer for James Harden, you're not going to beat this Rockets team, because as he goes, the Rockets go. Because he was the one who was able to pull them out of the slump they had when Chris Paul was out, Capella was out, Eric Gordon was out. So if they don't find a way to at least slow down what James Harden is able to do for this team, they may win a game, but it's going to be just that, a game. I think I predicted it to go 7 games. It's going to be crucial these next 2 games that they go home, defend home court, and then go back to Houston with the series tied up 2-2. Now, moving on to the games from yesterday, the games from the 18th. Start with the 76ers versus the Nets. The 76ers are finally taking control of the series. That's the case when they win without their best player in Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons did what he needed to do. Tobias Harris was on his game. J.J. Redick hit some clutch shots. And D. Russ is not showing up for this team. Excuse me. So when Joel Embiid comes back, it'll be good for his team, obviously. Greg Monroe was serviceable that night, but he's not he's not Joel Embiid. Tobias Harris shoots 6 for 6 from three. JJ Redick 5 for 9 from three, so he's shooting the 3-point ball really well. Ben Simmons shooting the 3 ball really well. Got him. But yeah, they were able to take care of business. Ben Simmons putting up 30 points for them with the absence of Joel Embiid. So they're looking good. They're looking like the team that I thought they were going to be in this series. D-Russ did everything he could, putting up 26 points, but it's not enough, and their team isn't good enough, like I said before, to keep up with the 76ers, even without Joel Embiid. So I expect the 76ers to finish out this series in 5 or 6 games. If the Nets want a chance to win the series, they have to win the next game, because if they go down 3-1, I promise you, they're not going to come back from that. They're not going to pull 2016 LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, all right? And now this is the most interesting game for me, and the most scary game for the Nuggets is Nuggets versus the Spurs. Spurs go up 2-1, and 2-1's really hard to fight back from, because one, if you lose the next game, you're down 3-1, and you're not coming back from that usually. And if you're down 2-1, then you feel the stress of it. You feel like you have to perform in that game, because you do. You have to tie the series up. The Nuggets cannot go and lose this game. They're playing the Spurs on the road, and the Spurs are a really good home team. The Nuggets were a pretty good road team this year. That's why their record was so good. But if they don't come out, perform, and win this next game, if Jamal Murray doesn't come out and perform better than he's been doing so far, he's been shooting terrible. He had one good quarter, and that was the fourth quarter of Game 2, where he helped to bring them out of the deficit they were facing. This could really easily be a 3-0 series in the Spurs' favor. And when you have the best coach of all time, arguably, and Greg Popovich, you have LaMarcus Aldridge, DeMar DeRozan, who's top 25 player in his league, arguably, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. So Jokic needs to come out, do what he does. Jamal Murray needs to find his shot again. Gary Harris needs to sink some shots. They need to clamp up on defense. They need to come out and win this Game 4. Otherwise, it's going to be really scary, and the Spurs are probably going to move on to round 2. In the last game, the one that was the least exciting, the one where there was no sense of urgency on either side of the court, was the Warriors versus the Clippers. Warriors handily beat the Clippers by dang near 30. There's nothing they can do. The Warriors are too good, too deep. They don't need DeMarcus Cousins to win this series. The Clippers got lucky. I won't say they got lucky. They fought back and earned the win that they had in Game 2. But they're not going to let that shit happen again. Warriors in 5. Let me know what you guys think of how the playoffs are going on so far, whether or not your predictions are holding up, or like whether or not you think they're going to hold up. Like maybe you had, the Nuggets winning the series against the Spurs, now they're down 2-1 and you're a little bit worried, or you had the Clippers beating the Warriors for some ungodly reason. Just let me know what you guys have been thinking about the series, what your predictions were, what you think is going to happen going forward. That's all I got for you guys today. I'll be back with another video tomorrow. Peace.